first thing is that, most people think with my book, Can We Avoid Another Financial Crisis? Thought the answer is going to be no. My answer was yes, we can avoid one, but to have a financial crisis, you've got to have a boom beforehand. And given that the level of private debt has reached such an astronomical scale in America's history, that debt levels of 170% of GDP, private debt back in 2008, was the highest in the history of American capitalism. So that meant I'd expected there wouldn't, even though all the rescue attempts, the QE, Clash for Clunkers, all that sort of stuff from the government, stopped it being a drastic fall in debt like we had back in the Great Depression. The impact was you had a still very high level of debt, so it fell from 170% to 150%. But I thought there was very little likelihood for it to boom again because, first of all, borrowers already carrying 5-6 times the level of debt compared to income that applied back in the golden age of capitalism were unlikely to want to borrow all that much. Banks are unlikely to want to lend all that much, having burnt their fingers badly in 2008. So I thought you wouldn't have much credit demand. And therefore, if you had a downturn in credit demand, it wouldn't be coming from the high peak like it was back in 2007. So I said, I didn't expect secular stagnation. That's bloody Larry Summers' useless phrase. I expected credit stagnation. That's what I called it. So credit stagnation was my conclusion out of Can We Avoid Another Financial Crisis? And I thought the financial crisis would occur in countries that managed to borrow their way through that, which included both Australia and Canada. But I was wrong on those countries having a financial crisis, of course, at least pre-COVID. And the reason for that is, fundamentally, it's the other side of the money creation process. Banks create money by lending more than they get back in deposits. Governments create money by spending more than they get back in taxes. This, of course, brings up the arguments of modern monetary theory. And if that money were being used to boost demand for goods and services, that'd be fine. Instead, in most of those countries, it's used to boost the house price market, the house prices. Schemes that give tax breaks to people buying properties, that give first home buyers, like in particularly Australia's been famous for that, grants to the first home buyer, which they call them the first home buyers grant. I call them the first home vendors grant, because you give people an extra, like roughly 1-for-1 comparison, an extra $25,000 flat. Here's 25 grand, go buy a house. Well, they'd go with the 25,000 at the bank and say, oh, that's great, you got 25,000. Here's 250,000, go bid on the house. And they'd factor up by a factor of 10. And you get both the government seeding it, but also more private debt being taken on. And it ended up being money in the vendor's pocket, not enabling the buyers to buy more houses. In fact, the effect of all this stuff has been a reduced level of home ownership. What it does is increase house prices. And that's become a large focus of government policy, which is one reason I'm not 100% in the MMT camp, because I've seen how it can be abused to maintain asset bubbles rather than being used for sensible consumption and investment, which is the way it should be used.